Somewhere in San Jose, California, there is a house that makes no sense. Stairs climb up and end at solid ceilings. Doors open onto two-story drops. A window is built into an interior floor. And for 38 years, construction on this house never stopped. Not for a single day, not even on Christmas. Workers hammered through the nights, through earthquakes, through the death of the woman who ordered it all. Her name was Sarah Winchester. And what she was building, or what she was hiding from, is one of the strangest unsolved questions in American history. To understand Sarah, you have to go back to Hartford, Connecticut in 1862. That was the year she married William Wirt Winchester, heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, the company that made the rifles that helped win the American West. For a while, life seemed charmed, but the charm did not last. In 1866, Sarah and William's only child, a baby girl named Annie, died from a disease called marasmus just weeks after she was born. Then, in 1881, William himself died of tuberculosis. Sarah was 41 years old, utterly alone, and suddenly one of the richest women in the country. She inherited roughly $20 million and a 50% stake in the Winchester Company, which paid her about $1,000 a day, every day, for the rest of her life. That is roughly $30,000 a day in today's money. And then, according to the stories that have circulated for over a century, Sarah Winchester did something that no one expected. She moved to California, bought an unfinished 8-room farmhouse in the Santa Clara Valley and began to build. Not to finish, not to settle, to build without end. The construction ran continuously from 1884 until Sarah died in September 1922. At its peak, the house employed dozens of workers around the clock. By the time Sarah was gone, the structure had ballooned to somewhere between 100 and 160 rooms, depending on how you count them. It covered roughly 4.5 acres. It had 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 40 staircases, 47 fireplaces, and 13 bathrooms. Some of those staircases led nowhere. Some of those doors opened into walls. Some rooms had been built, sealed, and apparently forgotten entirely. Historians and architects who have studied the house note that the craftsmanship on the beautiful parts, the art glass windows, the parquet floors, the hand-carved woodwork, is extraordinary. Sarah clearly had taste and money and intention. So why did she also build staircases into ceilings? Here is where the mystery deepens, and where honest reporting requires us to separate legend from fact. The most dramatic story, the one repeated in tour brochures for over 100 years, goes like this. After William died, Sarah visited a medium, a person who claimed to contact the dead. The medium told her that her family had been cursed by the spirits of everyone killed by the Winchester rifle, which was nicknamed the gun that won the West. To appease these spirits, Sarah was told, she must move west and build a house that never stops growing. The moment construction stopped, she would die. It is a perfect ghost story. The trouble is that there is no solid historical evidence Sarah Winchester ever visited a medium, or believed any such thing, or was told this by anyone. Historian Mary Jo Ignoffo, who wrote the most thoroughly researched biography of Sarah Winchester, titled Captive of the Labyrinth, published in 2010, found no letters, no diary entries, and no first-hand accounts from people who actually knew Sarah that support the seance story. What Ignoffo did find was a private, grieving woman who guarded her own life fiercely. Sarah rarely gave interviews. She turned away reporters. She was not, by any account from people close to her, a woman spinning in superstitious terror. She was wealthy, independent, and deeply private. So, then why the house? Several serious theories exist. The first is that Sarah was simply grieving, and building was her way of coping with loss. Construction gave her purpose. It gave her a staff of people depending on her. It gave her something to do with the enormous income that kept flowing and whether she wanted it to or not. This is the most psychologically straightforward explanation, and it is the one Ignoffo leans toward. A second theory is that Sarah was engaged in a long, evolving architectural experiment. She had no formal training, but she clearly had a passion for design. The odd features, the doors to nowhere and the stairs that climbed to ceilings, may partly reflect what happened when an untrained architect kept changing plans mid-construction for nearly 4 decades, with new ideas layered on top of old ones, and no single master blueprint guiding it all. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake, which hit the house hard and collapsed several towers, also forced mid-construction repairs and rerouting that left some areas permanently strange. A third explanation, less popular among historians but worth knowing, is that some of the weird features were deliberate. A few researchers suggest the confusing layout may have been designed to give Sarah privacy from unwanted visitors in an era when wealthy widows had few legal protections and were often targets of con artists and unwanted relatives. The seance story, by contrast, appears to have been invented and spread by early promoters after Sarah's death, when the house opened as a tourist attraction in 1923, just 1 year after she died. That story sold tickets. It still does. The Winchester Mystery House is now a California historic landmark and one of the most visited attractions in the state. What we are left with is the house itself. Real, enormous, and genuinely bizarre. Built by a real woman whose real grief was real, whose real money was real, and whose real reasons she took with her when she died quietly in her sleep on September 5, 1922, at the age of 83, in a house still full of workers, still under ongoing construction, hammers still in hand. The truth is that no one alive knows exactly why Sarah Winchester built what she built. And in a way, that is the most haunting part of all.